The power sweep actually is the lead play in our offense. Yes, a YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com, and you can text us 865-658-5824. I'm joined alongside Tim, live in the Mecca of Green Bay, Wisconsin. We've got Chris down in enemy territory around the Dallas area, and obviously I'm stuck over here in Redneckville, USA, the great state of Tennessee. So, with that being said, Tim, did you know that the toothbrush was actually invented in Tennessee?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. If it was invented somewhere else, they'd call it the teeth brush.
You got that right, my friend. You got that right. So I love it. We got people in the chat already, man. It's going to be a packed house, I can tell you right now. Look at Boz said, leaving the Texans game just now, nuts down here. I bet it is, Boz. That defense, boy, it was buzzing tonight. And CJ Stroud, I was just telling Chris offline, as we were chatting, someone had asked me last offseason, will you do a breakdown of the quarterbacks, the top quarterbacks in the draft? And I did that, and I came away with Bryce Young being number one and right behind him being C.J. Stroud. But I put in parentheses, C.J. Stroud is the best passer in the draft. And, man, you see it, Tim. He's dropping that ball in over cover two. He's so accurate. He's got touch. He's poised in the pocket. Dude's a real deal, man, and it's just a perfect example of if you hit on the right quarterback, it's worth mortgage in the future, you know. And listen, they didn't do that in Houston to get him, obviously, but you see these teams trading a ton of draft capital to get up there and get that top quarterback, what they deem as the top quarterback. And if you hit on it like C.J. Stroud, the difference is you go from one of the worst teams in the league to in the playoffs, right?
That's right. I mean, that offense was impressive. I mean, the defense too, of course. That's to be expected. D'Amico Ryan's got them fellas ready to play. But I think one of the things with Stroud, man, it's just so hard to pressure a guy that just is willing to get that ball out in a second. You know, like you saw it time and time again. He's just dumping that swing or that check down, and they're just manufacturing offense off of that. I mean, countless chunk plays today with a real short pass, but a lot of yak. And, yeah, man, the Texans are a real deal. So shout out to C.J. Stroud. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer. That's your offensive rookie of the year right there.
Yeah. Anytime the offensive rookie of the year candidate was in the running for the NFL MVP candidate, it's pretty much sure up, especially when it's a quarterback, right? So I know Jerry Weiss Corbly, good to see you in here tonight. She says, I'm hot for a 30 burger. Amen.
There we go.
Hey, let's drop 30 on them and hold them to about, 29 3/4, and we'll call it good enough. You know what I'm saying? So good to see you in here tonight, Jerry. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Chris, you got anything to add to that Houston game we just got through watching? I know you were chatting a little bit about it, man. It was it's funny. In the first quarter, I looked over at my wife and I said, this is going to be one heck of a ball game here. And the next thing you know, she's going, yeah, heck of a ball game. Look at this. Joe Flacco went colorblind there in the second half or whenever it was. But what do you think about it, Chris?
No, it's just maybe a little bit about the gamble that you take with. I mean, they didn't have a choice in going with Flacco.
Right.
That was decided for them, but just kind of the luck ran out a little bit on that, and then C.J. Stroud's decision making is elite. Something I think that we can see in Jordan Love too, but no, nothing more than that.
Definitely. John in the chat says, is the Cowboys offensive line still banged up? I thought they were fairly healthy. Tim, do you know anything about there being some injuries on the offensive line? I can pull up the injury report here, but seems like I felt like they were pretty healthy last time we checked there. What did you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look here.
Let me drop the chat down here real quick. So looks like guard Zach Martin. Obviously, that was just NIR rest, veteran rest day, so he's going to be good to go. Guard Tyler Smith, full participation. He's good to go. And then did not participate was Tyron Smith, their tackle, which that was NIR rest as well. So yeah, pretty much they're healthy at the offensive line, the offensive line group, and man, they've been great this year too. I mean, they're one of the better offensive lines in the game, that's for sure.
Looks like everybody on that list for Dallas is probably going to go, other than maybe Cooper Rush, which we don't plan on seeing anyway. So
yeah, I completely agree. Well, the Packers.com put a really cool video out, and I just kind of named it Setting the Stage. Go over to their Twitter page, give this a like, give them a follow if you're not already. I'm sure you already are. Retweet the video, all that good stuff. Let's show them support. But they did a heck of a job putting this together. Just kind of like a little last-second montage, if you will, and it's setting the stage for what this playoff berth kind of represents and how we are the underdogs and playing with the house's money. Take a sip. And all that good stuff. So they did a really good job with this video. Let's check it out.
The ups and downs of a long campaign. It was all about the future, right? Well, for this Packers team, the future is now, and so are the playoffs.
We go to the playoffs! Remember this feeling, right? Remember this feeling in all the work that it took to get here.
We obviously know we have a great challenge in front of us. Our guys, they know it starts with the work that we put in and the preparation, and it's going to be a big week for us.
Taking a 9-8 record into the playoffs. Hang on, here we go.
Here we go, buddy. The Green Bay Packers, so many times, Mike, the chips have been down, they've needed to rally, and they did it once again.
There's opportunity for us to go play. We're all going to play. We're excited.
I think we've had a couple opportunities to be in this position, kind of have that pressure on us to win, to get in. So I think that's been a good thing for us.
One of the keys to a deep playoff run is getting hot at the right time. The Packers have won 3 straight and 6 of their last 8.
Just play free. Don't play careless, but play free. They've gone through all these trials and tribulations now.
You learn through every experience, both good and bad.
Now it's up to see what all those games and all those moments can kind of do to push them towards something special.
Anytime you can stick together and then come out the other end, it really makes you such a strong group, and that's what we have right now. It's a special thing.
I thought the guys were focused, and I thought we put in the necessary work. I think our guys embrace that. They're excited for the opportunity.
Look, that was pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I loved it, man. I like simplicity personally. So what do you think, Tim? Not before, man, going in. Anything changed in your mind? Anything at the forefront?
I'm with John Schmidt right here. We're going to put that dog in underdog. I love it. We'd be lying if we'd say there's no nerves, right? It's playoff football. Don't kid yourself here. I think one of the key things for this young team is, don't forget to respect your opponent. It's you got to go to the art of war here. You have to have respect for the Dallas Cowboys and what they've done this year, and this team that we're facing. Probably one of our toughest challenges of the year, and that's what the playoffs are all about. So you got to embrace that. But at the same time, you're not going to fear your opponent. We can respect the talent that they have in Dallas and the way that they're coached and all of that, but we don't have to be afraid, and we're damn sure not going to be intimidated down there. I think we need to take that excitement, that youthful exuberance, and we need to ride that wave and trust ourselves out there on the field and play for each other like we've done all year. This team has had ups and downs for a reason. Everything we've gone through this season has prepared us for this moment. So go Pack, go, baby.
Absolutely. What do you think, Chris? Any initial thoughts going into the game here? We haven't talked to you here in a few days. You got any maybe keys to the game? Just anything you want to add?
Yeah, I've been thinking about the matchup of our defensive line against their front, and specifically Rashawn Gary. Is he going to be able to? Are they going to be able to move him around, and is he going to be able to get off and have a game that I think that we need? They did a great job against Chicago, albeit a different level of competition last week, but they did a tremendous job rushing as a team, and I think they need to do that again. And obviously from the offensive side, Micah Parsons is a problem, and but we have I hope and we're having the solution with Zach Tom and a little bit of chipping maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure.
I agree. I think it's going to take that. We talked about that yesterday, right, Clayton?
Yeah.
we got a block by committee here. We're definitely going to have our hands full. Again, respect that opponent and know what you're up against, and just go out there and execute, man. It's all you can do is play your best ball. I don't want to see anybody intimidated by their studs. We got to take it to them from the opening kick all the way till the last seconds of the game, man. All gas, no break. Matty LaFleur needs to bring that back. All gas, no break for this game.
Yeah, and there really is nothing to lose. And just go out there and lay it all on the line, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, dude. We've talked about all year long. It's another piece of the puzzle. Early on it was, who are we in these premier positions, right? These tier one of importance positions. Who has solidified their spot on the roster? You talk about your left tackle position. You talk about your edge defenders, your 3 tech, your 3-1 tech, your interior defensive lineman. And then you move on to your, on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously the big question was quarterback, next to tackle. Do you have the quarterback? That piece has been put in place now, right? We got the piece of that puzzle. So now you're kind of looking at some of those tier 2 positions. When you talk about, middle linebacker, free safety, I feel like we've got the guys there. They just got to continue to put it together. In the middle linebacker position, that is. Safety needs upgraded desperately. On the offensive side of the ball, the center position, I personally believe we need to upgrade at center. We need to do everything possible to upgrade at center. So you keep putting those pieces in place, and then it's coming down the stretch. It's okay, you've got a chance to play for the playoffs. So essentially, the last 3 weeks were like playoff games. So how does the team respond under pressure? You put that piece of the puzzle in place, right? They responded well. Now you're going into the actual playoffs and playing a legit top 5, top 3 team. Some would argue it's the best team in the league. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but man, they're definitely in the top 3 to 5. So how is your team going to respond against a much, much, much better football team? How is your coaching staff going to respond? How's Joe Barry going to respond? All those things. We put up the statistic earlier today, I should say, that showed Joe Barry how well his defenses have performed in elimination games. We'll see that piece to the puzzle get put in place again tomorrow. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And win, lose, whatever, we're going to come out of here knowing, okay, here's what we need to build off of. Here's what we need to look forward to next year. And if they win and go another week, I think another piece of the puzzle gets put in place that, hold up a second, we may be 1 or 2 pieces away from being a powerhouse in this league. Right now it feels like we're peaking at the right time. And I'm trying to play it conservative here and not be overly confident, right? But it's like I said, LaFleur's got the boys buzzing. There's no 2 ways about it. Doug in the chat says pressure is really on Mike McCarthy. Rumors are that Belichick is waiting in the wings, and Jarrett's checkbook is open. Talking about Jarrett Jones.
Jarrett, I love it.
Yeah,
Jarrett Jones.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it depends on, obviously, do they win or lose tomorrow? And if they lose and it's a really close game, I kind of feel like McCarthy's safe. But and the reason I say that is put yourself in Jarrett Jones' position there, right? You got a guy who's 72 years old in Bill Belichick. You guys know I love Bill Belichick. But understand, he may coach for 2 years. He may only coach 1 year. And you're putting your team in a position to, okay, do you have the heir apparent in-house? I mean, they just got the whole Kellen Moore thing situated and him out of the building for Mike. I think it would take them getting beat by a couple scores before Jarrett Jones would actually think about bringing in Belichick. But you're right, it's all over the place, Doug, for sure, as far as the media. What do you think about that, Tim? Let's talk a little Cowboys front office here. Do you think Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat if he loses this game tomorrow? You think he might lose his job?
I don't know if I'm going to go as far as hot seat, but it's getting warm. It's getting warm. I understand the sense of urgency within Jerry world here to get it done after so many years of just it's been they're pretty far removed from their glory days. It's not Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith. Them days are long in the rear view, and a lot of heartbreak there in Dallas since then. So I definitely think there is a sense of urgency. I wouldn't write. First of all, I don't think Belichick's going to go to Dallas. I just don't see that happening. However, I'm not going to say that it's completely impossible. And even given what you said, that, hey, maybe, Bill might be looking for a, 2 to 4 year contract here, and we'll see how long he's going to coach football in the NFL before he ultimately retires. I do think Jerry World would he'd take that shot. If he felt he needed to move on and Bill was willing to come down there, Jerry might be the guy to do it and go ahead and have that win it now mentality. We know this league is the NFL, not for long. So, and it's true, man. If you don't win and win quickly, you're out. I mean, you look no further here at the coaching carousel we've already seen and the moves that have already been made here with the swiftness as soon as the season was over. So it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. But, I think Mike's his job's secure. I mean, Dallas has been competitive since he took over down there. So, we'll see how hot that seat really gets. But at the end of the day, I'm more worried about my Packers, right? So We'll see what happens tomorrow. Be interesting to see if they catch that L, though, what the vibe is like down there.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. Boz, thank you for the donation, buddy. We appreciate you so much. Jerry Weiss Corbley, thank you for the super chat. Jerry says, I wonder how many times Jordan was sacked in the last 8 to 9 weeks and how it compares to O-line, to top O-lines. Seems like they've been giving Jordan plenty of time. Just on the surface, Jerry, without being able to look it up, on the fly, if I remember correctly, he was pressured the second least in the entire National Football League the first half of the season. It was like right around number 2 or number 3. And now I want to say pressure percentage-wise, he's somewhere around the 5 or 6 spot, meaning they're, he in terms of comparing it across the entire league, he's got, in the first half of the season, the second most time in the pocket, right? Because when you talk about pressures, or sacks, what have you, if you hold on the ball for more than 2.5, definitely more than 3 seconds, then it's on the quarterback, right? But as far as that pressure percentage in that allotted amount of time, the offensive line has been playing great. So I think they've been very, very consistent. I think in the second half of the season, maybe a little bit worse than the first half. That's what was so alarming about Love struggling in the first half, was like, man, because people would immediately say this offensive line is playing bad, and it just wasn't true. All the analytics showed that they were actually blocking really well. Jordan was just late on his reads and inaccurate with the passes. Now that he's straightened that up, man. So, yeah, to answer your question, I'm pretty sure they were sitting somewhere around 5th or 6th in the league as far as giving him time to throw the ball and pressure percentages. So thank you so much for the super chat there, Jerry. Anything you want to add to what we talked about there, Chris, whether it's Jerry Jones or what Jerry Weiss Corbley actually just mentioned about the offensive line?
Yeah, if I'm recalling history correctly, I think that, Jerry Jones ran out somebody that had control of kind of a domineering personality and had control of all operations, won 3 Super Bowls, and Jerry ran him out of town. So, I don't see, I know a lot of time has passed, but I don't see that match happening. Jerry Jones is going to still want to have his involvement, and I don't see Belichick running an operation like that. I think that he's going to want control over the entire operation, and Jerry's not going to be able to let go of that. So that's just my thought.
Got it. And you're down there in the Dallas area, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
What is do you listen? 2 questions. Here's a 2-parter for you. Do you listen to local sports talk? And if you do, what's the vibe around the fans and Mike McCarthy, and the vibe around the fans and Jerry Jones? I always assume the fans love Jerry Jones because he has just put everything, his heart and soul, into that organization and continues to pump money in. And just, he took it from an organization that was actually losing money when he bought it, and obviously turned it into one of one of the most successful sports franchises in the history of all of sports. What does it feel like down there as far as Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones? Do they tend to like both of them?
Yeah, I think most of the fans are just along the thought that you're saying there, Clayton. Most, pros and cons, taking everything into account. I think the fans love him. When it comes to McCarthy, down here, I mean, very similar to Green Bay, but postseason performance is really what it's about, especially in recent years here in Dallas. So even with all the success that they've had all season, most fans would tell me, yeah, let's see what they do when it comes to playoff time. So that's I think they're waiting for to get a big playoff win is what they're looking for.
Makes sense, man. Definitely makes sense. This is when people protect their jobs right here when you get in the postseason, right? So Dennis Shook in the chat said, love this Chris guy. He says it's a great addition. I completely agree, Dennis. We're excited about having him on moving forward. It's been a lot of fun getting to chat with him offline too.
Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Romero with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says, thank you, PTA, Clayton, and Tim, for the winning jersey. Let's go, Packers. Packers 24, Cowboys 14. Man, if Joe Barry holds that Cowboys offense to 14, boys, put it in the bank. Barry ain't going nowhere.
I will be insufferable if that happens. I'm just telling you right now. You will never hear the end of the amount of trash talk that is going to come out of my mouth if we hold this Dallas team to less than 20, man. Oh, my.
The Barry haters will come out of the woodworks, though, Tim. They would be like, yeah, they held them to 14 points. But in the third quarter, on second and long, when the air conditioning in AT&T Stadium was blowing more than 3 miles an hour to the southwest, Barry is actually bad in that scenario. Okay, that's exactly what they would break out on us there. But Romero, buddy, we appreciate you supporting the stream, man. You've been a YouTube member for a long time and always supported us. So I'm happy that you won the jersey, buddy. Again, there was 2 people that were ahead of you, but they didn't claim it. It was Beard Don and Dan Cott. Probably shouldn't mention their name if they're in the chat tonight. They're like, what the crap? We tried, man. We tried for a week.
Hey, but we tried, and you didn't speak up.
And if you're in here for the first time going, I don't know what y'all are talking about. We do giveaways on the show, just a way to give back to the listeners who are members of the PTA Posse. If you go to our homepage and click join, you can join our YouTube group. And then not every post-game show, but many times during the season, during the post-game show, we would put everyone's name on a wheel, spin it, and give away an autographed piece of memorabilia. This week, we're giving away an autographed James Lofton card, Hall of Fame wide receiver James Lofton. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure that you're a YouTube member by midnight tonight, and we'll get you entered into that contest tomorrow for an opportunity to win that. We got some other stuff coming up here in the future, too. We actually got an autographed Romeo Dobbs card and autographed Jaden Reed card. That one's I was looking at that, and these were all donated by United Bates, one of our loyal listeners, which we appreciate you so much, man. But I seen that Jaden Reed card, and I was going, I might hold on to that one. I couldn't do them like that, though. So, but yeah, appreciate you, Romero. Congratulations, buddy. Back to the chat. John Schmidt says, I'd say it's only one more sleep till game day, but it might be hard to sleep tonight. I don't know, John. I guess I'm weird. You're not the only one saying that. It's people all over Twitter agree with you. But man, I'm kind of like, I'm gonna sleep like a baby tonight, dude. There ain't nobody on the face of this earth expecting the Packers to win this game, other than some loyal Packer fans that are like, man, I hope they can pull it off. So I'm gonna sleep just fine. Casey Odom in the chat says 38-17 Pack. I like it. Look at this one right here. John says Packers 45, Dallas 3. I tried not to laugh. You hold them to 3, LaFleur gets fired, and Joe Barry's promoted to head coach. All right? I love it. I think he's been in the bottle a little bit, and that's okay, John. You're still welcome in here, man. C.L. Freeman says Packers will get it done and shock the world 31-21. Jen Wright says Musgrave breakout game. How cool would that be?
I like it.
God, how cool would that be? Have Musgrave go for about 80 yards and a couple touchdowns, and literally remind everyone, oh, yeah, they've got a second tight end too. That would be awesome. Absolutely awesome. Let's see what else we got here in the chat, and then I want to play y'all a quick video. John Schmidt says McCarthy mismanagement of the clock contributing to a loss is what will get him fired. That's definitely one of his weak spots, that's for sure. And Bleeding Green and Gold says Aaron Jones another 100+, and Love getting the ball out quick, and we got this thing. Love getting the ball out quick. Both of those points are great. Bleeding green. And I actually broke it down. You guys know I was talking about, man, it kind of feels like we need to try to lean on running zone left tomorrow because of, how their EPA drops against zone run. And then also in their base, which they don't stay in very often, but in their base, the left side from the offense's perspective is from the offense's vantage point, I should say, their view is a little bit weaker than the right. It's one of the few weak spots in that defense. And I pulled up the numbers, and we actually run left more than we run right. It was something like 56% left and 44% right, if I remember correctly. So be cool to kind of see how that shakes out. And also, man, the passing game is another thing that you can't overlook. I mean, Love is he's playing lights out, man. And LaFleur is dialing up some absolute gems. There's no two ways about that. Let's see here. Casey Odom, I seen you just mark that. Take that one for me, Tim. What did Casey say?
It says Dallas fans down here are really overlooking the Packers. They see zero chance that they lose and think the Pack is way worse than they are. Well,
woo. Is that what you're hearing down there too, Chris?
Yeah.
Depends on who it is, right?
Yeah, along the lines, the same type of feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's how I feel.
Casey, I love Casey. Casey jumps in here and says, "Yeah, man, they're down here overlooking the Packers," and everybody in our chat's going, "Packers win by 20." You gotta love it. Gotta love it. I love just homerism. I'm all for it, man. I'm all about it. Let's see what Mike says here, and then we'll get to the video. Mike Hebring, a.k.a. the Packers super fan, says, the same people that say all the recent Packers success at AT&T and Dallas was due to Aaron Rodgers are the same people that say wins are not a quarterback stat. Mike going to ruffle some feathers in here, Mike. And you come in here, stir in the pot, and then get an argument started, and next thing you know, Mikey's gone. He's out of here, right? Stir the pot and shut the door. NFL matchup. You guys know I'm a big fan of it. I love Greg Cosell. He and Darius Butler. Obviously, Darius Butler, if I remember correctly, was drafted by Bill Belichick, went on to have a good career with the Colts as well. One of the most intelligent DBs you'll ever see play the game, played cornerback, played a little safety too. I think he played pretty much every position in the secondary at some point. He played boundary, he played over the Z, he played slot, and he played safety throughout the course of his career. And Belichick was one that was quoted as talking about how intelligent Darius Butler was as far as a DB. But he and Greg Cosell did a little breakdown of the Packers-Cowboys matchup, and specifically they talked about each team's offense on both sides of the ball, okay? Let's start with Dallas. So here is Darius Butler on NFL Matchup on ESPN with a quick clip breaking down some of what the Cowboys have been doing.
Play number one. Got 3rd and 4, 3-by-1 set for Dak Prescott. Defensively, you're going to get a split safety look. It's going to be a cover 2 look. So corners are going to be in the flat. Safety is going to be in the deep half of the field. This is going to be the concept attacking that. Jalen Tolbert in the slot. He's going to run a clear out. And then you're going to have the short outbreaker by Brandon Cooks. And then a deep outbreaker from CeeDee Lamb. The thing I love about CeeDee Lamb is his tempo and his patience in the route. Now, when you're running off, hey, you got to haul tail and get out of there, or that safety can get a good break on the ball, which he does. But Dak Prescott throws this ball pretty flat. CeeDee Lamb does a great job coming down. You're looking off. You see the flat defender hovering around those sticks. Remember, it's 3rd and 4. So you get the ball over the corner, right to CeeDee Lamb in the pocket. Nice. What a ball, Dak. Play number 2, 3rd and 4 once again. This time a 3-by-1 set again, a split safety look on defense, but they're going to rotate to single high, and it's going to be man-to-man coverage. They're going to motion down to create a bunch, which creates some traffic issues for the DBs. Once again, the tempo, the spacing by CeeDee Lamb, they've been perfect this year, and that's why he's broken all those Cowboys receiving records in that 88. Just watch his tempo, how he sets up. The DB obviously has to deal with some traffic in front of him. Now you see the leverage. The quarterback and the receiver have to be on the same page. The DB's inside leverage. I'm going to put my foot in the ground and break out, and the ball's going to be on time, on target. And then once 88 catches this ball, he knows what to do with it. They've been special all year long, and once again, especially at home.
Man, what he's talking about with tempo there, guys, especially out of that bunch set, when you're playing what I refer to as anchor in the bunch, you're in the back, and you're just letting all the traffic kind of get out of the way, and you can just run a choice. You can look at the DB, inside leverage there, foot in the ground, out pattern. Outside leverage, foot in the ground, inside pattern. If it's cover one drop, skinny it off down the seam. You've already got someone else in the switch concept coming out of the bunch, opposite the anchor, and driving the safety back. You can kind of create a window underneath. So CeeDee Lamb's a real deal. What he reminds me of, you guys remember Le'Veon Bell, the running back?
Yeah.
Patient he was. He would literally get the ball and just kind of sit in the backfield and wait, and then bang, he was gone, right? CeeDee Lamb's like that with his routes. He's got so much burst that he's so patient to the point where the DB's like, what in the heck is he going to do here? You know, wait, and then he's gone. He's a heck of a receiver, man. Heck of a receiver.
You look at those breakdowns right there, and it's what I mentioned yesterday is him being so dynamic in the slot and, you know, in the nasty as well. You know, anything inside the numbers, man, and you got to account for him, period, point blank, especially when he's in that area of the field. You know, like I said, I feel better about our chances if he's on the boundary. And I got this sneaking suspicion we're not going to see a lot of him on the boundary. We're going to see a lot of him, you know, lined up inside the numbers or in the slot. And we got to be physical, man. We got to account for that and be prepared for those type of sets too, creating traffic, creating confusion. You know, teams in this league are masters of picking guys, even though it's illegal. You know, you see the pick plays all the time, and it's just basically really good route running and play design that sets it up to where these officials can't call it because technically they're not picking anyone. So, you know, we got to be on our P's and Q's on defense. I'm looking at you, Keyshawn. I'm looking at you, Jair, Val, and Bal. It's going to be a rough day for that secondary if they don't make contact and at least attempt to reroute a guy like CD and try and knock him off of his rhythm a little bit. You're already fighting an uphill battle, so you got to at least make the effort.
Yeah. Speaking of battle, Kansas City is leading Miami 7-0 right now with 7 minutes left in the first quarter. It is colder than Mandy's heart when I forget to take out the trash, boys. I'm telling you, you already see the steam coming off of these boys' heads. It's wild. The field looks hard as a rock too, man. I love outdoor football. Chris, we got a question for you here from Jam, but I think it's fitting that we have to key up the old conspiracy music for this one. Here we go. All right, the question from Jam is, hey, Chris, are you hearing the rumors that Dak is fighting off an illness? Cooper was listed with illness on Friday, and there are rumors that Dak is sick now. The spread went from 7.5 to 7 on the rumor. Woo! Chris, you've got the floor, my friend.
God, I with the background music and everything, I wish I had better news. No, I haven't heard or seen anything outside of Cooper Rush being sick. So
something going through that quarterback room down there,
right? That's all we can hope for. But no, I haven't heard anything.
I want something else going through that quarterback room, and that's our boy Rashawn Gary. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we hit on the Cowboys video. Let's hit on the Packers offensive video now. This is also from NFL Matchup on ESPN. Guys, it's hard to find. They, for whatever reason, they'll have six grown humans orchestrate an argument for, I don't know, 23 hours out of the day on ESPN. And then they shove this into the 3 a.m. time slot, this show, which is an absolute gem of a show. This is Greg Cosell now breaking down some of the Packers footage. So let's see what the GOAT civilian, as Ross Tucker refers to him as, been with NFL films since the 1970s. You hear the name Cosell and you think Howard Cosell, right? That was actually his uncle that used to call Monday Night Football. So here's the GOAT civilian Greg Cosell breaking down some Packers offensive snaps.
So you're going to see Love under center here, and it's 12 personnel, which they use a lot, and their tight ends are now healthy. So you're going to see Dontavian Wicks now motion, and the corner will follow. Now there's a post safety here, so this is going to be cover one, which the Cowboys play a lot of. Yeah. So now let's look at the route concept. What we're going to get here is kind of a double in. Okay, you can call it a dig, or it's a double in.
All right, when he says double in, if you look at this and the way it's set up, this is what I refer to as slot cross is the concept. But in this case, it would be switch slot cross because you've got the quick motion, right? It's not cheap motion, but quick motion. They're going to snap as as the receiver is still in motion, and notice how he's going to be on the opposite side of the cross of the slot cross concept. So they're going to change position, but still get to the same point. This is Bill Walsh 101. Literally, it's the illusion of complexity with simplicity at every level of your passing game. Slot cross is designed to have the inside receiver clear out that safety so you can hammer the backside dig. If the safety cheats too far to the right and you've got leverage in the crossing pattern or the climb, if you want to call it that, then you can go to that route as well. But just wanted to point out, he said a double in. I think a double in breaker is what he said. This is what we refer to as slot cross, and this is the concept that Matt LaFleur has ran more than any other passing concept this entire season.
But what does the motion do? It gives Wicks free access into his route, and that's absolutely critical. That's what you want. And look at the body position now of the corner. He is not in good position to play an in route. You know this. You played the positions.
Hips.
So then you're going to look at Dobbs. He's going to control the safety with his in-breaking route. So you have the one-on-one now with Wicks versus the corner. And the corner cannot cover the in-breaker with his body position. So that makes it really difficult. So they got what they want. So let's turn this now. And what you're going to see as we turn this and see it from...
Look at Wicks, too. Wicks is open. You could hit Wicks here if you wanted to with a dime. Just pointing that out. That's wild.
The other angle is the corner's out of position now to play Wicks. And Love throws a really precise ball here. Wicks does a great job and gets in the end zone. But motion, Sal, will be absolutely critical in this game. They want to get their receivers free access off the ball and attack the Cowboys' corner.
Love it, man. God, he's so good at what he does, man. There's no fancy words. It's just straight to the point. If he can make a dumb redneck like me understand football, I'm telling you, anyone can understand it. Chris, we got some people calling you out in here, man. Dennis Shook says, Chris's accent's way more Wisconsin than Texas. I think they found out you were from Milwaukee, my man.
Yeah, I got a little accent.
Dynamite drop in, Chris. So
Who do you think you are? I am.
So we got a couple Scotties in here with a redneck. I love it. So Chris is originally from Milwaukee area, and obviously Tim grew up in Milwaukee as well. He was a street rat, though, wasn't you, Tim? Oh, man. All right, let's see. Kyle in the chat says, I think LaFleur has some tricks up his sleeve. What kind of tricks you talking about, Kyle? You wouldn't be talking about a little reverse action, which you know what I've been waiting on is one of these tight end jets, one of these tight end reverses. What about Musgrave being healthy, getting a lot of attention on Jaden Reed, who's just absolutely dominating right now, a lot of attention on Tay Wicks, and then all of a sudden out the back door, little Musgrave with that world-class speed there. That'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Get him coming up field at you. So I like it, man. I think if there's ever a game where you're going to break out the tricks, it's probably it. Now, if they hit on it, I'm going to be going absolutely crazy. If they miss on it, I'll be saying, why are we getting cute? So I just want you guys to know that's how I feel. G-Dog in the chat says, my guess is that Dallas scores 13. Y'all can flame me, but defense has been getting good lately. Jair going to put the locks on Lamb. I hope he plays. And G-Dog, you're not going to get flamed in here for supporting this defense. We've been kind of talking about it all year. I've been the one getting absolutely torched for sticking up for the defense and feeling like they kind of carried the load there in the first half. So G-Dog went on to say that there's a 65% chance that we win tomorrow, fellas. I'm going to miss that guy. I'm just telling you right now. So we got the matchup videos in. Anything y'all want to add to that matchup? And I can pull it back up if you want me to kind of roll the tape without sound too. Tim, what did you think about what they said about Green Bay's offense there, and more specifically what Tay Wicks and Jaden Reed are able to do?
I mean, I think it's just a testament to Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's been in his bag, as they say, these last few weeks, and calling great games. Really, I think you're seeing him hit, full stride here as the season winded down and we head into the playoffs. He's really understanding how to best utilize this personnel that we have, a ton of new faces in the organization this year. And, it took a little while to kind of get guys all on the same page. And for LaFleur to find that rhythm, we talked about early in the year, things were just too complex. It seemed like that we needed to kind of simplify. We talked about them spreading things out a little bit more and getting out of those condensed sets. And, we saw him kind of switch it up a little bit. And now, we look and we're having a lot of success with the condensed sets and a lot of the nasty and tray and trips and those kind of things. And, so I think it's a testament to LaFleur utilizing this personnel, because when you've got talent like Tay Wicks and Jaden Reed and, Romeo Dobbs and these guys, I mean, it can be hard to really, it can almost be overwhelming. I could totally see that. It's like, what do I do with this guy and this guy? How do I best utilize, these tight ends that we have? And, you can kind of try and do too much at one time. And I think LaFleur's done a good job of really like pinpointing the strengths of these guys and getting our offense clicking, man. And Jordan Love playing his best ball of the year right now, tuned up for the playoffs is just the icing on the cake, man. And, I mean, we can't say enough about these young pass catchers. Really it's the tight end room all the way up to the receivers. And, our running backs have been pretty good out of the backfield too as well. So I'm hoping for another, pure Matt LaFleur, unadulterated, the depths of the playbook if I have to. I'm sure he's going to have a couple extra tricks on the call sheet tomorrow, and I will say this, the proof is in the pudding. Matt LaFleur's had Dan Quinn's number here last few meetings, and he's no stranger to a Dan Quinn defense. So be exciting to watch the game tomorrow, man. I think it's I don't think we're going to have a boat race. I think it's going to be a close one. Yeah,
I agree, man. I think if they can keep it close too, the longer they keep it close, I think the advantage starts to tilt toward Green Bay, because that pressure is really going to mount up for Dallas. I believe that.
That's right.
SN40 in the chat says Dylan doubtful is a good thing. Matt LaFleur won't be tempted to use him 50-50 with Jones. Listen, I like Dylan, but I think that's a fair point that you're making there, SDN40. Jones has just been on a tear. He's leading the league in rushing the last 3 weeks, if I understood Baldy correctly, if Baldy was correct in his statement there. And then Casey actually went on to say, Dylan has some grains that need harvest anyway.
John Deere green on a hot summer night. Hero Billy Bob loves Charlene.
What do you think, Chris? You think we'll see A.J. Dillon back in the lineup tomorrow? You think it's going to be a heavy dose of Aaron Jones? And more specifically, you think we can get Jonesy 20 carries tomorrow?
Billy Bob loves Charlene.
Nailed the accent. Nailed it.
Yeah. No, I think the key is with Jones. I don't want to be too redundant here, but I think that he'll stick with the run game. Ball control is. Listen, the longer that we keep the ball out of that offensive, Cowboys offense, the better that we are. And one of the things that is interesting, McCarthy took over play calling, which was a little controversial because they had a pretty good offense. But one of the things about McCarthy's new offense is really they try to slow the game down as well. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of possessions in this game, and each one is going to be that much more important.
Got it. That makes sense. That was the big thing with Kellen Moore in the offseason, right? He said, Kellen Moore, he said, I've been an offensive coordinator before, and Kellen Moore's trying to score points. He wants to be a head coach. The problem is I'm trying to win games, and the best thing for our defense right now is to establish the run and be able to slow things down, right? I remember him saying that, he being Mike McCarthy. When you look at their efficiency or the identity on offense, like we were talking about, when you talk about them running the football, gap run 38% of the time, that's 10th most in the league. Their EPA is ranked 15th. So, you're top 10 in the amount of gap run that you have. 62% of the time running zone, that's 23rd in the league, and their EPA with that's 14. So they're not horrible at running the football. It seems like Mike has accomplished what he set out to have. The problem is when they're in gun, they've got the number one EPA ranking in the league. So he's tried to go under center more, doing that 11th most in the league, but taking kind of a back seat to shotgun. You're still in shotgun the majority of the time, but shifting from less shotgun this year than you had last year and going under center. The EPA under center for the Cowboys is 24th, and out of the gun it's first. So it's like Mike keeps trying to fight it a little bit and slow the game down, but they're so darn good at passing the ball. I'm sure he finds himself in the middle of the game thinking, man, let's continue to wing it around, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how he calls that game for sure, because I think, time of possession and slowing the game down, it could be absolutely crucial. Casey in the chat said, over under one receiver pass for the Pack. Can he resist? We haven't seen that wide receiver throwback in a while, have we, Tim?
Thank God.
Yeah, and it's funny because everyone, you guys know I'm not a big fan of it, but everyone points out to me, yeah, but he was open. They just dropped it. I'm like, I know.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
You threw the ball 45 yards to lose 2. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? So, but again, like I said at the beginning of the show, if they hit on it, I won't be complaining, right? I'll be all about it.
I think with plays like that, I'll always say the same thing. It's timing. It's when you call them. You gotta lull that defense to sleep, kind of get them in a routine that they think you're gonna run, or they think little screen pass or something. You pull that out when they least expect it. That's when they're the most effective. 3rd and 6 is not an effective time to call that play. No. Neither is 4th and 2. When they're looking for the trickanery, as they say, that's not a good time to run it. But hey, it's playoff football, man. I mean, throw every grenade you got, right? You can throw everything you got at them. So we might see a little bit of that.
Yeah, you can't take it with you. Oh, Mr. Swift just dropped a pass on 3rd and 7. Lord have mercy. I think that was 3rd and 7, or maybe this is 3rd and 7. 7-0 Kansas City. Closing in on the end of the first quarter. I think that was a second down play. I went right through Travis Kelce's hands there, buddy. All right, there you go. I'm just saying. We got the cameras on her walking in the stadium earlier today and got her limelight. It's like, how are the cameras always in the perfect spot, Tim, to catch her walking in the stadium?
We suck again.
G-Dog in the chat says, if Christian Watson plays and can take the top off the defense, Jaden and company are going to have a good day against the Dallas DBs. If you get them thinking about tilting that cover 1 toward Christian's side, if indeed he is healthy, that underneath is going to open up so wide open. Especially, imagine a bunch set or a trips look with Watson taking the top off and forcing that single high safety that they like to run most often out of cover 1 man, drifting that way. And now with you playing outside leverage, right, you being the DBs in Dallas, playing outside leverage, knowing you got a linebacker drop and a safety down the seam, you still got, if you've got 2 other targets, whether it be the number 2 and the number 3 on some kind of slot cross, imagine that. Imagine a go route on the outside and then your number 2 and your number 3 receiver running a slot cross. That poor Mike got his hands full. The question is, and it's the most important question, can the offensive line hold up against Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence to allow that to develop, right?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be something that he looks up in 1.7 seconds, he's got someone in his face and he's just got to dump it to a check down for a 2-yard gain, right? So what were you going to say? I thought you had something, Tim. My bad.
Oh, no.
I'm hearing things over here. Jen Wright in the chat says, feeling good about Watson playing in a dome. Hey, the whole team, Jordan Love in this offense has been great in the dome this year for sure. Casey Odom said he had their breakout game against the Cowboys, so they would definitely have an eye on him if he's available. Big tight end game possibly incoming. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's the thing, too. You can run that slot cross. You can go Trey. You can go Trey Gun or even Trey Ace, right? And what I mean by Trey is 3 targets on the right on one side of the formation, and the third target, the number 3, if you will, is actually the Y, the tight end attached, or you can even flex them out a bit. You can have them drop back a touch. But Trey is when you have a 3 wide receiver set, if you will, with one of those wide receivers actually being the tight end. So, a little Trey look. Musgrave just as fast as most receivers in the league. So that could cause fits there in that cover 1 as well. Again, you got to overload that zone. If they're playing outside leverage, you got to treat that middle drop just like it's zone defense and overload that zone is going to be the proper way of attacking it. John Schmidt.
His receiving is tough.
It is, Tim. It actually is. John Schmidt in the chat says Watson and Reed running scissor routes against man should be giving Dallas some nightmares. Scissors is another way to beat man coverage for sure. Little mesh look as well. Slot cross, I think the thing about slot cross and the reason you've seen it so often this year is because it can win against zone and man. That crosser runs through zone and away from man. And we just showed you a cover one look where the DB completely turned his back to the inside and allowed the receiver to just eat his lunch on that backside dig. So it's one of, if not my favorite passing concepts, route combinations in the entire league. Jen Wright says, Jones, 22 carries, 2 touchdowns. If that happens, Jen, I think we win this ball game. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
In the chat said, Cowboys are what is known as a bad, good team. They are a good team, but of the good teams, they are among the worst. Every time they play a good team for real, they look like crap. I pointed it out the other day, Dennis. I didn't realize it until I heard other people talking about it. And I'm like, they're probably over-exaggerating. They're Packer fans. They're just, I went and looked at the schedule and who they beat, and I was like, man, they only beat 3 decent, teams, really. Outside of that, everyone else was kind of, I don't want to say garbage, but they weren't great teams. We got Carly Ray joining us now. Carly, how you doing this evening?
I am doing all right. A little tired. It's been a long week, but I am so excited for tomorrow. Real pumped.
Heck yeah, man. It's going to be here in no time. This week flew by. I don't know how you guys feel, but I just looked up and it was like, holy cow, we got the ball game tomorrow. It's absolutely wild. G-Dog in the chat says, I hope we can run and try to take away as many possessions away from Dallas as possible. That needs to be the game plan for sure, G-Dog. Carly, you want to let the listeners know what we got brewing here as far as a little side project?
You got a picture ready to show?
I don't. You think I'm prepared for this? What's wrong with you? Why don't you go ahead and begin to explain, and I'll get that picture ready. How about that?
Oh, sure. Sounds good. So I was just working on a little bit of the PTA logo with an extra star. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I have my little 2-year-old. Oh, you can't find your shark?
Oh, that's
hang on, guys. I'll be back.
You're good. Listen, if you can't find your shark, I can't think of anything else that's more important. By the way, Mandy is crazy about sharks, so she's loving that right now. I guarantee it. Now I didn't want to steal her thunder, but I'm going to try to pull up the image here. We've got some PTA merch coming out. Everybody been asking about it. Everybody has. So I'm going to post it in our chat real quick, Tim, and get it pulled up. I'm really excited about this. We added a little wrinkle to it this evening as well, as Carly takes care of super mom duties over there. Let me put it in the call in real quick. So we're working on a hoodie too. Okay. So Tim said, surprise, Clayton's creating a hoodie. Imagine that. Stay off my back, Tim. What's wrong with you?
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Exactly. If you guys aren't aware, it's about all I wear is hoodies. I wore one to dinner last night. Mandy's looking at me like, can you just put a collared shirt on for once?
That one collared shirt you got in the closet?
Exactly correct. All right, here it is. It's going to be a grainy picture, okay? But bang, look at that. We got us a coffee mug coming, fellas, ladies and gentlemen.
Diesel.
And, you see the diesel on the front, and then we got the diesel going down the side. On the back, it says Packers Total Access and EST 2021, obviously, when the podcast was created. So I'm excited. Carly actually put that logo together with that color scheme. And I'm digging the black interior too, Carly. I like it.
Oh, yeah. Coffee heads know what that's about. We can reheat our coffee in the microwave without staining our mug.
That's what she said. It's exactly what she said.
I know how we roll.
Yeah.
Gotta have that diesel. But no, I'm excited, Carly. I can't thank you enough for your help. It's going to be awesome having that stuff put together. And like I was just saying, we're going to put a hoodie together and all that good stuff. So we got one more video I'm going to show. And actually, I wanted to show you guys this. I was a little bummed out about the Buffalo game. You guys heard, right? Buffalo game's been moved to Monday night, right, because of the weather. And you guys heard me on the morning show. I was so fired up. I was absolutely fired up about Buffalo playing in that blizzard conditions, right? and I'm thinking, I'm going to be real. I'm sitting there going, God, how soft have we gotten that we can't, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? This is what makes football great. And then the Buffalo Bills tweeted this video out. Look at this video. I seen this and went, I'm going to shut up. Look at this. Yeah, I seen that and I was like, nah, yeah, that was the right call. We I don't think guys could stand up with the football in their hand.
There would have been 21 people at that game if
Right.
they tried to play that. There'd be no way, and it would have been all staff.
Yeah.
And imagine all the people like traveling and stuff that felt like it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we bought tickets, we have to be there, and how many car accidents and different things like that, and like the police. No way, nothing. Like
Yep.
no game is worth risking people's lives like that.
Yeah, you see, I think that's the big part of why they
Mm-hmm.
canceled it or postponed it, I should say. But yeah, I mean, how do you look at the grounds crew? It's like, what do you do with that? There's not a tarp in the world. There's not a snow brush or ride on in the world that's going to compete with that. You know, we try to impose our will on Mother Nature all the time as humans, and we lose miserably every single time. And this
Like,
is
seriously, look at that. It looks like an ocean.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I
that's
mean?
like that looks like, you know, the Arctic Circle. You know, like, no way.
Golly, yeah. So
That
like
would have
to-
been a 3-0 ball game or a 2-0 ball game. You'd had one safety.
Could you imagine how the over/under would have shifted? Oh my gosh, man! It would have went. I don't know what the over/under is in that game, but it would have probably went down to 3 points.
Man.
Yeah, just absolutely wild, man. Absolutely wild. Carly, do you got anything you want to hit on before we get ready to wrap up? I got a final thoughts video from Packers Daily. Anything on your mind this evening?
Have we talked about just the volatility possibly of Dak Prescott, that when he's on, he is, arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But he's had 3 games with a PFF grade of under 50, and I believe one of them was under 40 this season.
Wow. We have not talked about that. It's a good point. I wonder which teams that were. Obviously, it was probably the losses. I'm going to try to pull that up real quick. Give us your thoughts on that.
It would be great to know how many sacks he took during those games, or how many pressures when he had those low PFF grades. Like, what is it, if you can find some commonality? And I don't know if there is one. I haven't been able to look into it as deeply as I'd like to, but what was it that kind of caused that to switch? Or was it just an off kind of night? Was it mental? Is there any commonality we can find? Were the opponents, how many people were they rushing toward him? What kind of things were going on? If we could find a commonality, that could be kind of cool to give us some ideas of what maybe Green Bay could do against him to try and, get him uncomfortable and get him off. Cause I don't think he'll be able to get back. It seems like he has not been able to get back on when he's had some big mistakes in games.
Gotcha. Yeah, we obviously won't have time to put that together right now, but I pulled up the PFF weekly grades according to Dallas, from the Dallas Cowboys. Week 3 at Arizona, passing grade 44.5. And I was thinking, man, they must not have blocked well. The blocking was 61.7. So it wasn't like, it wasn't as low as 44.4. So bad game there, obviously. Looking on their side too, like on the defensive side of the ball for Dallas, their run grade that game was 52.2. Their tackle grade was 54.5. And they also had a bad special teams grade. So maybe they were playing from behind all game. Kind of pops up in my mind. At San Francisco in week 5, passer grade of 45.0, pass blocking 28.3. So San Francisco absolutely got after them. If you guys want to watch a tape tonight and go, man, who was able to put the most pressure on Dak, go to week 5 at San Francisco where they lost 42-10. They annihilated that offensive line. If we jump down now to
Clayton, sorry to interrupt, but does that show you how many times they blitzed?
Not on the PFF report. It does not. I would have to go to SIS and specifically find those games and use the filter there.
Yeah,
it would take a long time. I would like to know that too. See, Carly, you should have said this 2 days ago.
I did actually. I did in the chat comments, but I know you don't have time to get to all of those. So
see how I set myself up for that failure there?
See?
Yeah, at Buffalo, week 15, passer grade of 36.8, pass blocking 78.3, running grade 78.9, but the receiver grade was 54.4. So that seemed like the quarterback and the receivers were off on that game, but 36.8 that is bad. That is real bad. And looky here, you go across to the defensive side of the ball in that same game, week 15, run defense 47.6, tackle grade 37.6. So both games where Dak struggled, it looks like the run defense really collapsed for the Cowboys. You move on to, let's see. Now, that's pretty much the worst game. So you had a 36.8 in week 15. You had a 45.0 in week 5. And you had a 44.4 passer grade in week 3 against the Cardinals. So here lately, though, you're only as good as your last game, right, Tim? We talk about it all the time. That last game at Washington, granted it was Washington, 79.7. This is passing grade, okay? And I'm assuming that Dax is pretty close to this, right? Because this is the team passer grade. 76.6 against Detroit, which we all seen Detroit pretty much won that game. And then Miami before that, 66.7. And then the game before that was the Buffalo game, 36.8. So it's a very, very interesting topic that you brung up there, though, Carly. Something to go check out, guys. Go see what happened to that run defense of Dallas and see if that was one of the reasons maybe Dak was playing from behind the entire time. It's another reason, Tim, we talked about it. Chris, let's get your comment on it. We talked about you got to play from ahead, right? You got to come out running the ball with Jonesy, and he's as healthy as he's been all year long. He's leading the league in rushing the last 3 weeks. If we can come out and run on that defense and get an early lead, maybe we can have the same success against Dak. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, to me, I hate to sound redundant, but I mean, it's our defensive line and being able to put pressure on Dak. That's the key to the game. It's always games are always won in the trenches, right? But I think that matchup is primary, and then obviously the Micah Parsons, Dexter Lawrence as well, their whole team, but just how we do against having a plan for Parsons, and I know Matt LaFleur will. So
yeah, right. What do you think, Carly? You got anything to add to that?
Yeah, the different grades and like the bad run defense grade on that same game, it just kind of makes me think of something that Coach Mike McDaniel said about his team is that each phase plays better. Offense, defense, special teams, they each play better when they don't feel like it's completely on them.
Absolutely.
But if they feel like it is solely on them, they kind of he didn't say it exactly this, but like make stupid decisions or just kind of more desperation rather than playing as a cohesive unit. And it's that kind of puts me in mind of that. Like, I'm wondering if there was a little bit of that going on, like Dak was feeling like it was all on him.
Yeah, it makes sense. It does. And it's exactly what Coach LaFleur talked about early in the season, Tim. Complementary football, man. Yep. It is absolutely huge.
We hear Rashawn preaching that too. All 3 phases, be better in all 3 phases. Pick each other up because, yeah, I mean, it's easy, especially at the quarterback position, right? You know what I mean? Like if your defense is just not doing it for you, you feel like you got to put it all on your back and try and throw a million touchdown passes, and that's when you can make mistakes and when you're forcing the ball. And realistically, that's what I believe we need to do tomorrow. We got to get after it early and often, and do our best to put Dallas in a situation where they're playing from behind. Even if it's a field goal or a early touchdown, something like that, you got a 7 to 10 point lead. That can be enough to kind of stymie that growth of that offense, because that is definitely a true thing about Dak Prescott. He plays better with a lead than he does from behind. And it's not to say that he hasn't had comebacks. He has had comebacks. I'm just saying that's not his bread and butter. If you can get to him early and often and keep them out of the end zone, man, have them kicking field goals, that could be huge for us.
Yeah, definitely. And Chris, to kind of lean on your comment there a bit, just to go real quick through the PFF grades again, their offensive line from left to right, 83.8, 72.9, 68.6, 69.8, 50.8 at right tackle. So the weak spot is right tackle, really the right side of that line. So maybe you can get Kenny isolated in a 4-eye tech with Gary in a wide 9 and get pressure in Dak's face on that side of the line of scrimmage. And who knows, maybe you come out running a lot of TT stunts like we did last week against the Bears, try to get pressure in the middle, manufacture that pressure. And you never know too, man. Preston Smith's having a pretty good season, 73.9, lining up over their best tackle. Maybe he can get out there and make something happen. You got Devontae White, 62.3. You guys know how I feel. I'd like to see a little more Carl Brooks, maybe a 50-50 snap share there at that 1-3 tech in your nickel. And then Kenny Clark, 68.8. Obviously, really good pass rusher, struggling a little bit in the run game this year. Gary at that 80.0. That's where your matchup is. The problem is you got Ferguson on that side trying to chip too if they want to go strong right all day long. So with that being said, we're at 1 hour and 4 minutes. Let's wrap this big bear up. Let's go around the horn real quick. Tim, final thoughts, man. We're going to do a Good Morning Lambeau in the morning. We're also going to do a pregame show. and then we're going to do a post game show. So we'll play the final thoughts video in the morning for Good Morning Lambeau. But Tim, final thoughts, parting here this evening.
What are you guys eating for the game? What's the game day? Let's have a little fun here. What are you thinking, Clay? I'll go with you first. You're the foodie here of the pod.
What are you trying to say? Me making fun of this double chin over here? Is that what this?
I'm just I've seen some of the barbecue pictures and stuff. You guys know how to eat good down there, so
I say it all the time. The only reason I don't do drugs is for food. That's it. Food is the only reason that I haven't picked up an addiction. Tomorrow, Mandy already informed me we got a snow front moving in. I think they're now upped it to 3 to 5 inches down here for Monday. So we're going to make a big old pot of chili tomorrow for the game.
See, you took the words right out of my mouth, Clayton.
I tried this one chili and it set my mouth on fire, and I had to drink a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
I didn't even do it on purpose. I forgot all about that. So
you know what? We're doing the same thing here. That's why I asked. We're doing chili tomorrow too. So
that's what's up. And
wintertime, you got to do it.
For Christmas, Mandy got me one of the Christmas gifts she got me. You ever watch that show Hot Ones?
I don't think so.
So it's a hot wing show where they got like these extremely hot sauces.
Okay.
And they have celebrities come on and they ask them questions while they eat hot wings, and their mouth's just absolutely on fire.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Was that the one Shaq was on?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
With the famous meme with him looking at the.
Yeah.
So she got me a box set that's got 5 sauces, and it's actually got the last dab in it, which is like extremely hot. It's like 2 million Scoville. I had some the other night while we were watching the show, so I'm gonna put a little bit of that in that chili, and that'll be me saying I had to drink me a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. So, Chris, what do you got, buddy? Parting thoughts? Well, what are you eating? That's the parting thoughts. What are you eating for the game tomorrow, man? Down there in the Big D.
Let me tell you, they can't do pizza down here like we do back in Wisconsin, but I'll do a substitute Dallas pizza, which is garbage, but that's all I'll have. And, no parting thoughts. Just thanks so much for the invite. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, buddy. We appreciate you jumping on here. It's good to get another Scotty accent to balance me out for sure. Carly, what about you? What y'all having tomorrow? Y'all going out to watch the game? You staying home? What's the plan?
Staying home with the kids, maybe having some friends over that also have a lot of littles. So we're hoping that the kids will entertain themselves and allow us to watch the game. And we're having whatever my husband feels like cooking, because I'm not choosy. If he's cooking, I'm going with it. And he's a really good cook. But last thoughts, I want to mention Doug. Shout out to him. I think he's in here. He put up the link to an awesome defensive video, just about 13 minutes long, explaining some defensive concepts. He put it in the comments of Good Morning Lambeau this morning. And if anyone hasn't seen it, I am blanking on the title of the channel, but it is well worth watching. And it was super interesting, really opened my mind to putting together all these defensive concepts, and just made me realize just how incredibly complex of a thing it is. Right. And just made me excited for this game coming up. So shout out to Doug. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you guys got to go watch it.
There it is. He said, thinking football. So
there you go.
Yeah, go check it out, guys. I tell you, there is a ton of material out there to make you a better football fan. And don't be the lazy fan. I'm telling you, you may be thinking, oh, I don't have time. Just pick up 1 or 2 little concepts at a time. And next thing you know, you'll see the game at a totally different level. Pick up the book, Take Your Eye Off the Ball 2.0 by Pat Kerwin. It's a great book. There's a ton of material out there. Like I always say, man, if they can teach a dumb redneck like me the X's and O's of football, then they can teach anyone. I promise you that. So Paul Robertson, we'll end it with this, says, what isn't Clayton eating for the game? Veggies. Actually, I know Ryan Schlip isn't a big veggie guy. I'm actually a veggie guy, man. I like veggies personally.
You see that interview with Al Michaels when they asked him?
Bro, he's dead.
He's like, I've never eaten a vegetable in my life.
He's dead serious. Do I think he's being honest? I don't know. I don't want to call him that, but he's dead serious about that. People, they always joking. No, he always says he's never eaten a vegetable in his life.
I mean, he looks like a guy that probably hasn't had a vegetable.
Sure. You should be body shaming Al Michaels over there. That ain't right. So, So,
Clayton, do you have a video? Do you have a video to play for MG in the chat?
MG, where's MG at?
Oh yeah,
Green Bay is trash. Look at that. Well, MG,
Green Bay is also 2 separate words, by the way.
It is. And he's made like 7 score predictions. We've seen you the whole time, buddy. MG, we allow other fans to come in here and hang out, but when you start talking crap like that, just saying we're trash, it's kind of rude, right? We got to give you one of these.
Roadhouse.
So he didn't use a curse word, so I'm not going to kick him. I'm just going to put him in timeout. You sit in the corner, young man, and think about what you did. Okay? So there you go. All right, we're out of here, guys. I want to say a special thanks to all you, Tim, Carly. It was so good to see you in here. Thank you for all your help, Carly, volunteering. It's absolutely awesome. Chris, I'm going to have to get some recipes from Chris. Definitely your husband, Chris, right? And it sounds like he's the cook in the house, too. I love cooking. I absolutely love it. I don't know if I'm good at it or not, but I love trying. And Chris in Dallas, appreciate you jumping on board with us tonight, too, buddy. This was a lot of fun. So
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We're going to get out of here, guys. I want to give a special thanks to Boz. Thank you for the donation. Jerry Weiss Corbley, thank you so much for the super chat. And Romero R., thank you for the super chat. And congratulations on winning the autographed David Bakhtiari jersey. Just shoot me that email with your address, and we'll get that mailed out to you ASAP. Really excited for you to receive that. Again, guys, if you're interested in winning the James Lofton autograph card, make sure you're a YouTube member by midnight tonight. We'll get you on the wheel as we spin it for the postgame show tomorrow. 3 shows tomorrow, gang. And keep in mind, everything that we do on this channel, you can find in podcast form at Packernet Podcast. If you see the QR code in the upper right corner, maybe you're standing in front of your TV right now watching this, eating a bowl of cereal or something, scan that QR code, and that'll send you to wherever we got like 7 different platforms where you can find podcasts. It's where you can find the flagship Packernet Podcast by Ryan Schlip. Packernet After Dark is our call-in show where fans can call in and leave voicemails to Ryan, and he reacts to those. We've also got Jake Shavink with the It's Always Draft Season podcast. So appreciate y'all all hanging out with us. Again, thank y'all for the super chats and the donations. You're way, way too kind. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. We will see you tomorrow for Good Morning Lambeau. Then we're doing a pregame show. Then we're doing a postgame show. And then I got to go downstairs and try to save my marriage. So appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all in the morning. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack Go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. And try to run this play in the alley.